Welcome to the Sweet Spot Podcast, a podcast that seeks to help you find your sweet spot when it comes to a variety of issues like relationships, finance, work, stress, fitness, and many other topics. I'm one of your hosts, Jeff Persicchiti, along with Shah Punjani and CJ Jones. Now, on to the show. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Sweet Spot Podcast. Today's a special day. We've got a guest with us. Nadia Shalwani's with us today. We've got a pretty cool topic today. But Shah, before we started the show, you were saying...
Well, I think we just had a moment of silence, and Nadia doesn't know that we're all introverts, so even though we've been doing this a couple times now, we all have this slight moment of anxiety right before. We were all just in a standstill for a second, so...
Yeah, I felt it.
Yeah.
Are you the opposite?
No, I'm an introvert.
No way. Don't even.
I swear,
I know.
I think everybody
I know y'all don't think that.
Well, I think everybody thinks they're an
Yeah.
introvert.
Yeah, it's...
To some extent.
I'm a developed introvert.
Yeah,
It's taken some time to get
Same.
here. It's taken a lot of time to get here.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
You were never outgoing as a kid?
I was when I was a kid, like when I'm talking 5, 6, or 7-ish. And then some things happened at home, and it turned me into an introvert. And it took me self-work, hitting rock bottom, getting to know so many different people, and then actually coaching one-on-one has made me want to open up a little bit more. But I know I'm an introvert, so because I know that, I do things to make sure I don't stay in that bubble, because then it really hindered my self-growth for some time. So, but I know it because I am one, so I can feel it.
Yeah.
You don't know, you can't recognize something if you haven't been there before. I recognize it.
How long would you say it hindered your growth?
Oh, for a long time. And I still going through that zone. My sister will catch it right away. But I would say until I hit college. Actually, no, I was an introvert then too. No, I had phases of it. But when I started my business and when I started personal training, that's actually when I got out. Because when you personal train, how many people do you train? Like so many different personalities, people, race, genders, like everything, right? So you kind of have to, you're like, oh, dang, we're all crazy. And so...
Yeah, you're not alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, I can be introverted in certain situations, certain circumstances. Like if I'm talking about basketball or what I do, coaching, all that stuff, like I'm very, talkative because I know what I'm talking about. But if I don't, if I don't know you, or I don't know the subject or anything like that, I'm not gonna...
You know what? How about we tell our own definition of introvert? I think a lot of people have different definitions.
You want to start off?
Yeah. Okay, so I think an introvert is somebody that is not afraid, but I would say kind of nervous and not confident enough to show who they are. So they have to really feel people out to be able to be like, hey, I can be myself around you, or I can expose you to my authentic self. And so I think being introverted, you get to know yourself a lot. You really get to understand who you are, connect with yourself. And once you do that, you're like, I hate everybody else because I like myself more, because you spend so much time with yourself. So when you get out, it's almost kind of like social anxiety just because you haven't been around a lot of people. So I think that's what introvert is. But there is such thing as an introvert that can be outgoing as well. Because once you connect with yourself and you're confident in who you are, you can actually go out and show that side of you, right? So that's my explanation.
Your definition's better than mine.
Yeah, way better, yeah.
Yours is better than the real definition.
Who's next? Who's going to follow up?
I mean, that's great. I would just say for me, I'm an introvert because I just have trouble trusting people. But like you said, once that barrier is
skepticism?
broken, I have a little bit of negativity as well, actually.
What's negativity to you, though? Because that's broad. If you're skeptical of people, that's negative.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah, self-awareness is key. So, yeah, I'm skeptical.
Why are you skeptical of people? Why don't you trust people easily? Because you get on the road and drive every day with strangers?
Yeah, true. I've been done wrong, and I've seen a lot of people that have been done wrong. So
it's personal pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm scared to go now. She's like breaking us down like a fraction.
I was really a life coach. Yeah, like I was in a session already.
I just don't like attention. I don't like eyes on me. I don't know. I would just rather do stuff behind the scenes. I mean, Shah asked me to do this podcast like 2 or 3 years ago, and it took me that long to come around. And I just rather not be seen.
Is that a preference or is there a reason behind it?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I really don't know. It's just how I feel.
What I've noticed about you is you're like, even when you're in situations where, like you said, you don't like attention, but obviously there's a lot of attention in your daily life. You do a good job. I don't know what the word is.
Hiding it.
You don't hide it though. You like manipulate it. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know, but I know you personally, so I know like in certain situations how you really feel. But yeah, you do a great job of like making sure
I do
others
have to
don't say
hype
that.
myself up a lot. In
You mask
various
it?
situations.
You mask
for
the
sure.
attention?
Yeah. I think we all try to.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not cool to look insecure and anxious. So we all try to put that front up there like we're not any of those things. But
I think sometimes that's what it takes to get to that point where, because it's repetitive. Masking is repetitive, and obviously you probably know better than me. But I think over the course of time, when you mask it enough, you become extroverted.
no, can you become extroverted?
I actually think the first phase is you become somebody else because you see somebody else getting attention and they look like they're not nervous, such as you. So say someone's in your life right now and he noticed that you mask it very well because he's known you, but someone else doesn't know that you're masking it. So they're trying to be like, oh my God, that's my inspo. Like I want to be like him. Like when I first watched this podcast, like, okay, they're also like chill and relaxed. I know you were introverted. You came off that way slightly, but I also read a lot of people, sorry. But with you were very like calm and relaxed.
But I am calm and relaxed.
Right. But
I'm not that way all the time.
Exactly. And people that don't like attention can't be calm and relaxed. They have to mask it, right? So I think people actually go in phases. Like there's somebody that probably wants to be like you watching your podcast. Or saw a post that you posted, like a snap or something like that, and you too, like, oh, I can't wait I want to be like that person. And then they turn into that person, they lose their authentic self until they actually find themselves again. I'm saying this because I've been there, and so have like 90% of my clients. So I do think it goes in phases, but you've been in the game, so you've probably picked it up, and that's why you're like, you know what? It's just me. I don't like attention. It's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much the same way. I don't like that much attention either. What the crazy thing is, though, I'm very confident, not cocky in no way, but very confident. And I didn't realize how much or how important small talk is, because that's how you kind of just gain common ground. And so me, I don't talk a lot because I just, growing up, I used to hate small talk. Because I was like, what's the point of it? And so for me, I would be that guy in a room that wouldn't say much, which may make me look interesting, but at the same time, I don't know, I just was never the guy that would talk a lot. That's just the way I was. So
It's probably why we all get along so well.
I could, yeah.
Yeah, we're all very, very similar. Yeah. Cool. So, welcome to the Nadia show. She just kind of took over from the get-go.
Sorry.
No, it's cool. It's cool. That's why we invited you here. So,
You read all of us.
yeah.
Right.
I could keep going. I'm just kidding.
So the reason that we invited Nadia on today was because a topic that I'm very passionate about, which is, we're 8 months into COVID at this point, and I think everybody's aware of the trifecta, what I call outside in, hand washing, social distancing, and masks. And I don't want to debate those three things. Like that is what it is, and most people have to deal with it at this point. But I think too many people are relying on that as the answer, as the way that they're going to protect themselves from coronavirus, to run away from it, to social distance, hand wash, wear a mask, and that's somehow the answer. And I guess my question is, what's going to happen when you do get coronavirus? Because I'm thinking it's just pretty much like the flu, right? All of us are going to come into contact with it at some point, regardless of how well you do the outside in approach. You're gonna come in contact with it, and so I'm really passionate about making sure that the message gets out that there's things we can do for ourselves that when you do get sick, you have the best shot of maybe not getting that sick, possibly having it, not even knowing it, being asymptomatic, or it lasts a couple days and and you get better. And so how do you do that? Before we get into it, though, I want to have a proper introduction for Nadia. Nadia is a certified health life coach, personal trainer, psychological fitness specialist, and a sports nutrition specialist, aka a body-mind mentor. She founded Nadia's Nutrition in 2017 after 8 years of experience working within the health and fitness industry. Prior to starting Nadia's Nutrition, Nadia studied nutrition at Texas Women's University with a focus in dietetics and gained valuable experience having a chance to train with professional athletes and individuals of all ages. So, impressive resume there. But if you don't mind, can we go back a little further and just what got you into all that?
Yeah, my personal journey, actually. Growing up, as I was talking to you guys earlier, I hit a personal road bump in my family. We had a lot of ups and downs going on, and I was really close to my sister, and she moved away for college. And I didn't know how to cope with the fact that she was gone, and I had to stay home and deal with all of the personal issues that were going on at home. So I decided to start playing flag football. So I started playing flag football. It felt great because I was eating cookies, like ramen noodles. I was eating Miss Fields cookies like every night. I think I even burned the house down almost, like cooking noodles. But I was obsessed with eating like McDonald's every day. I had to have like frozen pizza every day. And I realized I was coping with food. So I started playing football and felt great, but I wasn't running fast enough. So I was like, there has to be some other way to run faster. So I started eating better, and I was like, oh my God, I can run faster. So as time went on, I went back into my eating disorders. This time it actually got worse. So I was bulimic for some time, anorexic for some time. I was popping so many diet pills at one point. College, it got worse because it's college. I mean, so many expectations in college. And so because of the stress in college, it got worse. And I started drinking a little bit more alcohol. Then it didn't work out as much. But I went through a lot of phases of depression, suicidal depression, because of the stuff I was putting into my body. And I was trying to figure out why it came so often in my life. I hit, I don't know how many rock bottoms in my life, but I went to a therapist, or was a psychiatrist? I forgot. She was like, oh, you have ADHD. That's all you have, ADHD. I was like, okay. So she put me on Adderall. And Adderall, have y'all tried Adderall?
No.
Shut up. Okay. So we know
I've never had that.
Okay, that's great. But Adderall's addictive, obviously. And so taking Adderall, suppresses your appetite. And I was like, oh my God, I could lose weight off of this. I mean, if someone already has an eating disorder, of course they're going to get addicted to Adderall. So I went through a bunch of cycles of trying so many different ways to lose weight all my life because I was gaining so much because of the way I was eating. And I felt like I had enough of it. I felt like I was doing well in college. I had like 3 jobs during college to like make it through. So working and going to school, trying to have friends at the same time, all of that. And then I started competing. So I did bodybuilding 3 times. I competed in the NPC competitions, if you guys have heard of it. That also messed up my eating disorders. Yeah. It completely took me way back to when I was a child. And after that, I actually started experiencing nausea and just vomiting after everything I ate, if it was outside. If it wasn't what I ate on prep, I'd be vomiting. So I was in and out of hospitals and ERs and doctor's offices. And a doctor finally came up to me and she's like, you need a therapist. You don't need a doctor. You don't need like medicine. They did so many surgeries to see if there's anything going on with my GI. Like, we really don't see anything. We don't know what's going on with you. And they would just send me back, and I would come right back. And then one doctor was like, yeah, your mind needs some help. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a connection. So I started figuring out that I had anxiety. That's actually when I was like, just started learning about anxiety. And then the more I learned about anxiety and controlling it, I started eating better. So I used food to make my anxiety get better. I didn't want to drink anymore. I didn't want to start smoking a little bit of weed. And then I started all those, Adderall and all that. To get off of it, I had to eat better and to exercise more. And I was able to cure everything I was feeling. Literally, like, my appetite got better, my skin got better, my hair started growing out. I wasn't an asshole anymore. I was just, okay, I was, but at the right times, okay?
I just tilted my head. I don't even know you that well.
It spoke to me.
Yeah.
But, I just saw a huge shift in my mindset, and then I wanted that for my clients. So I promised myself that I would teach my clients everything I went through in like 90 days, so they don't have to feel it for another year or 2 or 3. But I'm trying to simplify it in a short summary. But let's just say it was years, like 10 years of just cycles of depression and anxiety. And I just use food and fitness to cure that and to kind of thrive in my business too.
Yeah, it's so powerful because what people don't realize is food is information. It's information 100%. For your body and your cells. And I learned that myself. I had asthma from ever since I can remember. I was on inhalers, rescue inhalers, and daily maintenance inhalers up until probably 4 or 5 years ago. And it wasn't until I started making my own food at home from scratch out of whole organic foods on a daily basis. I do these green smoothies that, I mean, Shaw's seen these things. It's like drinking sludge. They taste way better than they look. But like no mystery, within about 6 months of doing that, my symptoms started to go away. Went back to my doctor. He's like, and he was pretty straight with me. He's like, hey, medicine's not the only way to fix your body. And within a year, I wasn't on, for the first time in my life, I wasn't on some sort of rescue or maintenance
that's amazing.
Medication. So it's powerful when you see that in your own life. So that's cool. So your mission is to take your pain and suffering all those years.
Yeah, because that shit was better be worth it somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so I didn't go through all that not to help somebody else out. So
so if you can condense that into 90 days for someone to avoid years of that, that's what you're going for.
Exactly. Yeah.
So my question, or did you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, just one thing. When you said food is information, I agree with that. And I also do believe that your body's information. I mean, think about it. It's literally your mind tells a story and your body tells a story. The reason I was vomiting was because I was having anxiety. Why was I having anxiety? Because of the shit that was going on at home that I didn't heal, right? So your body and your mind also have answers. You just need to assess that. The information is inside of you, but we're all going on Google and finding like diets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. So
my question is, you do life coaching. What value does that bring to you? Because obviously, like, I feel like humans all around, like, we do something that helps us out. Although we love helping other people out, we don't do anything in exchange unless it kind of helps us out on the inside or outside, whatever. So what does like life coaching bring to you? Because I understand you do it because you had it in your past. But
honestly, I've asked myself that so many times, and the first answer is, I truly believe it's a gift. Like no matter how much it's taken out of me, and it's taken a lot out of me, I can't go away from it. I don't feel like me without it. So I just know it's a gift, and it's something that's just a part of me, and I feel like it's a calling for me, and I feel like I'm going to disappoint the universe if I don't. So that's one, because I don't feel alive without it. And the other thing is, why not? If I was this bitter old, like, snobby kid, and I wasn't snobby, but I was annoying, and I was stubborn, and I would get irritated, angry about a lot of different things. But little did I know that I just didn't have the information or the guidance I needed to get out of it. And so when I've done youth camps. You've heard of Aluma, right? So I've done that 3 or 4 times. I've also done, I said sorry to it.
Yeah, there you go. You apologize to the mic. Oh, it's a real thing.
But, just helping youth out. I've been helping youth out ever since I was freaking youth. I don't know how I did it as a child, but I did. Yeah. And if these kids get the opportunity to know that there's more to life than what they feel like at that very moment, why not? Like, why not pass that over? I know for a fact that I've been able to help and change some clients' lives. I had to really realize that now, recognize that now. But if I can help somebody change a life, the other person you're going to help and pay it forward to, they can also help and save another life. Right. So why not? And if we're sitting here complaining about this country being a shit show right now, we have to do our part the way we can. Right. And so I think that's one of the main reasons. And my mom's a soldier. She is a fucking soldier. And I don't want to let her down,
I feel that. It's crazy you say that, because there's 2 things that you said that I believe in, and that's, you said paying it forward. There's this saying that everybody says it's common courtesy to you to leave something better than you found it. And so that's something that you said also that I definitely believe in. And then there was one more thing that I forgot, but if anybody has.
The reason why I'm really excited to have you on the show is because we come from the same culture. So I want to hear your thoughts on, like, what was the process like? Because there's not too many brown people that...
AKA Theses.
Yeah, find passion in fitness. So what was that process like? And like, you competed, again, in our culture, that's not very too popular. So what was that process like? And, what kind of started that?
Sure. It's so cool to see how many are now in it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what? Are you too? You too? You too? And every time I see a brown chick lifting, I'm like, okay, let's lift. It's so beautiful to see. But when I started, there was like barely anyone. I met one or two and we befriended each other. It was awesome. But I got lucky with my mom. My mom made my bikini. And now she works with somebody that makes bikinis for other competitors. So I got lucky because I think I'm living her dream. She's a seamstress, but she really supported the hell out of me. She prepped for me. All that nasty chicken and asparagus. I was like, I'm not gonna compete if she's not gonna cook. So she cooked for me. She competed. She made my competition outfit. I got lucky with a mom that was very supportive, non-judgmental in this community. But I will say it wasn't easy to post about it or talk about it because I would hear comments like, "You need to eat a burger," or "You're disappearing," or "Are you gonna wear that on stage?" And like, what do you think people are going to think and whatever. And I was like, my mom and dad don't care, so I don't really give a shit what you have to say to me. So I didn't really care, and I didn't really surround myself with the community as much. But it was awesome because after I competed, there was a lot of brown girls, amazing girls that have so much potential that were being held back by their parents, would use me as an example to work out. And I was like, oh my God, did that work? And it did. And their parents would call me and say, hey, I think my daughter wants to train with you. Like, what do you do? How do you do it? But it was just so awesome because now there's parents, the same parents that I've coached, they're now coaching with me. So now I'm coaching aunties and they love training. Like, they're beasts. My mom's over here working out too. And now my mom's inspiring her aunties to work out and they got all these workout clothes going.
That's so cool.
What I've noticed is that we've just been boxed up, and someone needed to do it for everyone else to be like, yo, I can be myself too. I can like expose myself too. And if there's an example, then there you go. And I know Freddie was the first South Asian, right? I think it was that was bodybuilding. When I saw him, I was like, oh my God, brown people can actually compete. And then I started doing it. And then my ex at the time kind of convinced me into it. And he was brown too. So I'm like, okay, all these brown people, I'll do it too. But honestly, it was just support. My sister supported me. My mom supported me. But it was a different experience. I'm not going to lie. But I got through it just because of my parents. I didn't really care what other people had to say.
So you said you started off as at a health club as a personal trainer. What was that process like, choosing to be a personal trainer, then moving on to nutritionist to starting your own business?
Sure. All personal journey again. So when I first started as a trainer, I started at LA Fitness. They hired me. I don't even know, should I say this on this show? Whatever, it's LA Fitness. So they put
They're not a sponsor, so.
Okay, great.
You're not gonna piss
So
anybody
I
off.
started working there with the certification I got like 5 days before I got hired. And with no experience, I almost killed like a 6-year-old woman. Like the Smith machine almost dropped her on her head. And I was like, okay, I should not be doing this. So I became friends with a lot of the trainers and I shadowed them. They taught me because I don't know what it was about iron therapy, but when I went to that therapist, when the doctor advised me to go, I went one time. I was like, this is fucking stupid. I don't want to hear you. And I didn't think she even knew anything about me. She's like, how do you feel? Okay, you can go back to class now. And this is like a school therapist that got paid nothing. So I don't think she even cared about me.
Right.
So I started training and there's just like that dopamine. I was addicted. So I just started training at LA Fitness. Then I moved to college at Texas Women's. I started training at their gym because why not? Like, I can go straight to the library, back to class. So I went there, and then Anytime Fitness, and then 24 Fitness, and then I went to Lifetime Fitness. And then at Lifetime, When I got there, I actually got my degree in nutrition at Texas Women's while I was training, because I was training my clients, and they would show up after eating McDonald's, and they were like sluggish. I didn't like that. I was like, yo, you're not progressing. What the fuck did you eat last night? And they're like, oh, I just had a burger. It had just a bun, and y'all looking at me like I just had burgers or something.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So I saw it, and I was like, I can't. And they'll come back and they'll complain like, I feel like I'm not losing anything. And I was like, okay, first, number one, that's your health. Number two, you're not progressing because of it. Number three, you're my product. You better like do everything, right? So I was like, I went to a nutrition course at UNT first, loved it. They didn't have a degree there, so I jumped across the street to Texas Women's, got my degree there so I can have knowledge to help my clients. And then I started helping myself with it. And I was like, okay, I would use that example to my clients. Like, hey, I eat all of this and it helps me. Because right now there's a lot of coaches that have competed and they'll use their own meal plans and sell those off because it's helped them. So I was doing that too. I was like, hey, this worked for me, so here, take it. Then I got in trouble. Got a little warning that I would get fired if I do that again. But I was like, oh my God, but I love it. I love writing meal plans. They're doing great. They look great. But little did I know it's not what they needed, their body needed. But of course, I got them started, right? So I got my degree. And then from there, I just got a bunch of certifications that helped me make meal plans, design meal plans, went into a dietetics degree. And then I worked at Baylor for 3 years as a clinical nutritionist. Absolutely hated it. None of it was preventative. It was all just, hey, 15 carbs, 2 carbs equals 1 can of soda. Or like, hey, this is highly preservative out and processed. Here you go. It counts as 1 carb. And I mean, I just felt like they wanted these patients to stay there. My heart wasn't in it. Then I got certified as a diabetic educator and a heart health. And I was like, oh my gosh, everything I'm teaching, I'm not really preaching authentically. Didn't feel right, so I quit. And then I started my side hustle at Baylor too. I hated it so much. I was like, screw it, I'll coach on the side too. So side hustle became my main hustle after I worked at Lifetime. When I was at Lifetime, I actually liked that place the best because they gave me the opportunity to become a nutrition coach and a trainer, a dual. I mean, it's the only gym that does that. And so I thought that was a great opportunity. So I started doing both, and I realized that there was just some things that I was teaching at Lifetime that I wasn't able to teach. Like, you have to really follow these gyms' rules. So I didn't think it was right to be able to be there and teach my own protocols when they're telling me to teach one thing. So I left and I started my own thing. There was, some ups and downs there, but when I walked out, I was like, I think I'm ready for my own thing. It's only because of the fact that all the clients wanted to come with me. So I was like, okay, let's do it. And I had older clients from all the other gyms that I was coaching on the side too. And you're not supposed to do that, but I did it. Sometimes you gotta break rules when you start a business, I'll be honest. I got rejected from all the universities. I paid somebody to sit with me, listen to my life story, and write an essay about it. And then I got into college. So you gotta find loopholes. And I did. Right. And I became very, very close with one of the managers at Lifetime. Amazing group of people. They did not mind. And they're like, you know what? You do you. And so I just started my thing from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You have a great story. And I think, like I said, I think that's why you're the perfect person to have this conversation with when we bring it back to the coronavirus conversation, because we're all walking around in masks. We're starting to lose our humanity. We won't walk close to someone. I was legitimately talking to someone the other day. I had a mask on. He had a mask on, and I could tell that as I was talking to him, he was angling away. He was continuously positioning himself in a way that he would not be close to me. It is to a ridiculous level.
It's awkward.
It is awkward, and it's a fear that is perpetuated by the media, and seems like the more you watch the news, the more freaked out you are by this, and the less rational you are about it. But that's what I hope to take out of this as a sweet spot today is for the people that are listening. If you are hiding behind a mask and hand washing and social distancing, and you're not addressing an inside-out approach, which is exercise, recovery, nutrition, supplementation, stress management, the things that are going to prepare you so that when you do come into contact with it, you're going to kick its ass, right? So that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today is break those things down for us so that it's real. It's something that I can, as soon as I get finished watching or listening to this podcast, I can implement and be more comfortable interacting with my family, my coworkers, and everyone else, and actually be ready. And maybe when this whole thing's said and done and coronavirus is just this thing in the past, I'm actually in a better place physically and mentally for the rest of my life. So the first one for me is exercise. I think that's, you can contradict me if you like, you're the expert here. I think that exercise is the most important. Well, there's nutrition, right? That's the harder one. But exercise, how important is exercise when we're talking about this?
So I have two styles of exercise for the body and exercise for the mind, right? So I know you're talking body, and it's incredibly important. And I think it's literally on the same level as nutrition, because of the fact that if you're not able to get out of your mind to get into the gym or outside to move, then you have to start somewhere else, whether it's food or your mindset, right? So for you, it's exercise because you can get out and get up and go to the gym. There's something about exercise that you have an attachment to, and you know it makes you feel good, right? And when you feel good, you feel like your health's great. And when your health's great, your immunity is great. So yes, exercise is highly important. However, for others, it won't be the first thing on their list because it's already so hard for them to even get out of their own head, right? For somebody else, it could be the food part, right? So just like our body needs the right foods, our mind needs the right foods. Just like our body needs the right exercise, our mindset needs the right exercise as well. So I agree with you for sure, for damn sure. But I do believe that it's on the same level as the other three as well, the other two as well.
Now, what is, like, can you be specific when you talk about, feeding your mind the right things?
Sure. Yeah. So, for example, let's start with going back to exercise, okay? If you know, and everyone knows how important exercise is. Everyone knows it. Like when you're kids, and we know that, oh my God, this broccoli, we need to eat it, but fuck that, I don't want to eat it. And now we're adults, we're like, give me a broccoli after you're hungover because I know I need it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if I eat this, I'm going to feel better. So going back to that, wait, what did you just ask me? Because I was thinking about broccoli for a second. I was like, oh my God.
That sounds pretty good.
So you said you need to feed your mind.
Yeah, feed your mind. Okay, so
Broccoli.
Mind off broccoli.
Yeah, okay, when you're feeding your mind, for me, it's more of the, do y'all meditate? Anyone meditate here?
Oh my God. Yes.
What?
Wait,
Today. Sorry, I just hijacked this whole conversation. Today, I did a 30-minute meditation.
Yeah, nice.
And go into the room with the meditation coach and lay down, and literally, like, it was 30 minutes. I think I was conscious for 3 minutes, and then I don't know where I went for another 27 minutes. And the weirdest thing is, I don't meditate very often, and by that I mean like never. So when I was obviously listening to her the whole time, because when she told me to roll on my left side, I rolled on my left side, but it was over. That was it. It was done. And I thought I was there 5 minutes, and I wasn't sleeping, so I don't know what it was.
Well, that's a blessing in disguise, because most people, they can't get rid of their thoughts for a good 15 minutes. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, she just walked me right down that path. And
30 is huge. That you did. I got to 30 after a year.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was very cool, and it took me a minute to, and I was super chill the rest of the day.
I think you went into your conscious mind. I do believe that. And when you go into your conscious mind, you're not moving. Your thoughts aren't moving you. Your body isn't moving you. You're gone. That's why it felt like 5 minutes, because you just went into, like, when you go into the outer space. I've never been. I'm not like I've been to outer space, but the time changes, right? Like you don't know how long you've been gone, but that's awesome that you did that, but that's actually how you feel. Like, that's fitness for your mind. Meditation is fitness for your mind, because when you work out, you're basically detoxing your body. Like, this is why we get so hungry. It's because our body and our metabolic process is regulating like pretty hard. There's no such thing as a fast or slow metabolism. It's just about a metabolism that actually works properly. Okay. And when your metabolic rate is working well for you, you're burning the fats you need to, you're not storing them, you're not in survival mode. You're also regulating your blood sugars. You can actually reverse your diabetes that way too.
By meditation?
No, by exercising.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
meditation is a part of it.
okay.
But it's a combination of the exercise. You can't eat like shit, like burgers, and then meditate, right? So,
right.
So when you exercise your mind, it's more so about, think about how you exercise with your body. You're working out to detox, and when you sweat, you're detoxing the gunk inside of you too, right? And then when you work out, you're using the restroom more, right? You're also, and your appetite is increased, right? So you have to think about your body doing the same, your mind doing the same thing. When you're also working out and when you're on the phone or you're talking to somebody and working out, you basically didn't work out. Like, it was a contradictive workout. You're just not going to get what you need out of that. But when your mind is still and just thinking about that one thing, like meditation, that's exercise for the mind, because you finally got it to kind of stay still, right?
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. I could not have done that on my own.
Right.
Like, there's no way I could have listened to a podcast,
Right.
read something on Google or something, and gotten there on my own. There was someone that, I mean, she knew exactly how. I can't even explain it, right?
No, I know.
'Cause
I had a
I don't-
meditation coach too. That's why I meditate now. I couldn't do it by myself either. I'd be like, what the fuck is this? I'm thinking about all this other stuff now. Even
I can
more anxious now.
I can
like,
take a nap by myself. I can take a 30-minute nap by myself, but that wasn't the same thing.
Yeah, it's not. And it's going to get, are you going to continue to go?
Yeah.
Okay, your experience is going to get
Yeah.
so, you thought you were gone, but you'll see. Just wait. Just wait.
It gets better.
You can literally get high on life with meditation. It's literally a dose of some sort of energetic drug.
I would say
Okay.
the closest I've ever come to something like that is in a float tank.
Yeah.
you ever done a float tank?
I have. Yeah. So it's
Y'all
kind of
ever
like
done a
that.
float tank?
what is that?
Yeah, I've never done that.
So it's this tank. It looks like an egg, huge egg, and it's filled with water and tons of salt, a lot of salt, so that you are buoyant. So when you step in the water, you float without trying to float. And because of that, you lose the sense of gravity. So you're laying in this tank. There's no sense of gravity. Then if you can handle it, you shut off the lights, close
Did you
the
shut it off?
egg. I did.
Me too.
And no, there's no light. So there's no light. There's no sense of gravity. There's no sense of touch, because the water is the same temperature as your external body temperature. And so once you are void of input, then your body, I don't know what happens to your mind because it's continuously filtering out all of these things. And then when there's nothing to filter out, first of all, about 15 minutes in, I had a panic attack.
I was just about to say, I would have a panic attack
Oh yeah,
right away.
most people do the first couple of times.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And then about 30 minutes in, I settled into my groove.
Yeah.
And if I tell you some of the stuff that happened, it sounds really weird, but I saw colors. I mean, complete darkness, and I saw colors.
Same.
Somebody told me it's like because there's no impulses, there's no input, you can actually see the electric impulses running across your optic
Did you
nerve.
see that while you meditated?
No.
So that you're going to start seeing that when you meditate.
So to that point, that's the closest.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the floating got me further down that path, just because you do get rid
It's
of so
different for
many
everyone. Like
stimuli.
Yeah, I've heard other people talking about their meditation experience. It's different for a lot of people, especially because of the journey that you're on, right? Like there's a lot of talk about meditation right now. So, and a lot of talk about fitness and nutrition, right? It's really just about really doing the work to really stop. And meditation is just about stopping. It's not really clearing it either. Like, you can't really clear your thoughts, but you can stop them, right? Because we're always going physically too. I mean, do y'all remember the last time y'all sat down on a couch or a bed, laid down, and just looked at the ceiling for like 30 minutes? Do it.
I can't. I'll fall asleep. I fall asleep within like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm probably the same way. But I got one. Where is this egg at? Where do you find? Where is that? That's what I'm
egg
like.
at.
Yeah, where is this egg at?
I'll send you some information.
Yeah.
Cool. That's
So the reason why I asked this is coincidentally, I reached out to you a couple months ago regarding meditation.
Did you try it?
Yeah. So, and it's all about self-awareness, and I'm not perfect, so this is why I'm publicly saying I took your advice, did it for a couple of days,
You
and I
want to
didn't.
tell everyone what the advice was?
So this was a while ago, but you told me to pretty much start small, and rather than going 30, 45 minutes in, start with 10 minutes. Go sit by some water, and
Or sit by something that makes you feel calm.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I did that for two days, and I just couldn't stay consistent with it, which I'm assuming is the main story with the most of the viewers and people out there. So,
Yeah.
what are some actionable steps that people can take to be more consistent with
Sure.
it?
Great question. Like, that's awesome, because it's not about being consistent with meditation, because it's kind of like this, like, have y'all trained clients? Have y'all trained?
No, I don't either.
Okay.
No.
I
So,
have a trainer. I don't train people though.
okay. So what do you train?
I don't
I don't train people.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah,
I get it.
never mind.
I get
He's
it.
a mentor.
I get it.
I'm a mentor. Yes, that's a good
okay.
one.
So you're a
I'm
mentor. So when you're teaching somebody something and you want them to stay consistent, the one way to get anyone to stay consistent is, why do you want to do it in the first place? Okay. There's no way to teach someone to be consistent if it's not going to become second nature at some point. So if you want to be consistent with something, don't try to be consistent. Figure out why. Okay. So why do you want to meditate? What do you want out of it? What do you want to accomplish?
I guess that's probably what I don't know. But the reason I want to do it though is because, like you said, that's the chatter, like the books I'm reading, I'm a big believer in if you want to become wealthy in this world or successful, whatever your definition of successful is, the blueprint's already laid out. There's probably somebody that's done it already.
Sure.
If you ask enough questions and, like you said, shadow them like you did those trainers, you don't need a degree. You can
Sure.
just literally ride the wave and
Loopholes.
yeah. And in most cases, it's a harder journey because you don't have that credibility. But I don't know where I was going with this, but
You're telling me success is what you're chasing after.
yeah,
Like
and-
all of us.
Yeah, and
Whatever
so
that.
the
Go ahead.
reason I do it is because I've seen most of the people that I'm
Yeah.
looking for mentorship from do it.
Sure.
Now, again, I tried it for a couple of days, and I was the total opposite of Jeff. I couldn't get past 15 minutes, 20 minutes without like turning my brain off.
Yeah. So when you're looking up to these inspos, what about them do you appreciate? What do you look up to them for?
Great question. They're all just great people. Like great human beings.
Yeah,
My goal in life
great.
is
Yeah,
to
yeah.
inspire
Okay.
as many people as I can.
Sure.
And most of the people I look up to inspire as many people as they can.
And so these inspos are meditating. So your pre-assumption is, since they're meditating, they're great people. That's why they're inspos. So I want to meditate so I can be an inspiration to somebody else.
Yeah, to a certain degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're happier. Yeah, okay. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess you just helped me find my why.
Yeah.
Is most of these people are,
Yeah.
way happier.
Which is why, I mean, a lot of people want to meditate because of that, right? They want internal peace.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be they want to kind of live the lives that the other meditators are like, you know what, I meditate and I feel like this. I did the same thing. I had a business coach that meditated and did all kinds of crazy shit. And that's why I started. And I would just lie. I'm like, yeah, I meditated. I can meditate. And no, I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was listening to random music with lyrics in it. You can't meditate with lyrics, like these awkward lyrics in my ears. But I noticed something about my mentor. This is just an example. Is his mental growth. When I spoke with him, he helped me see so many different things in different lights, perspective, not just positivity, but something that I can actually live through and be confident about. And when I started noticing him saying, hey, I meditate because it keeps you still or whatnot, that was my why. My why was, I'm crazy in my head. Like I have a lot of thoughts.
Same.
Lots of thoughts.
Yeah.
A lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people that want a lot out of life, they have just a lot going on. And anyone that has a lot, like busy lives, if you have kids, if you have, a relationship at home, you're one individual and you have to be somebody for so many people all day, right? So it's not just entrepreneurs either. It's just everyone that has heavy lives, the busy lives, right? But even with the entrepreneurs and why they are doing it so much is because of the fact that our brains are so, like, it's a clusterfuck in there. And in order for us to organize it, no one's going to understand us. We understand us. So when you meditate, you can organize the way you feel and think about things, and it really calms you down and helps you understand all your ideas in a different perspective, right? Which is why I started meditating. So when you think of it this way and you go into meditating, don't focus on what you're supposed to think about, where you're supposed to be. How do I do this? How do I become this? It's this impatient factor. I've been there. Do you feel a little impatient of getting in places? That's exactly what it is. If you start accepting that it's going to take time to get to that, then you'll give it a fair shot.
So
that's when you'll become, basically, get out of your own head. And I actually recommend a meditation coach if you really want to get started.
Yeah, so that would be my next
Impatient
question.
people can really benefit from meditation coaching. Don't do it on your own if you don't want to.
So,
I got one.
So step 1 is finding your why.
Yes.
Step 2 is, I think what you told me was just don't try to go all out. Just go sit by a calming sound.
Yeah, I did that. I love ocean and rain sounds. So I started with Spotify and just a playlist throughout the night. And then I would go next to water fountains and things like that, close my eyes, and just listen to the water. And I would focus on each drop. Like, focus on something with the water, or if it's hitting the rocks, if it's a thunder. But focus on a sound, just one sound. When you're able to focus on a sound, then you can finally get into staying still. You know what I mean? But you gotta take baby steps. And then you might not even do it every day. You might do it when you really need it. Then you'll notice, like, if I go a day without meditation, my family knows, like, did you fucking meditate? Did you work out? Like, I'm not me. So you'll start to notice it, just like with exercise. When y'all don't work out for a couple of days, how do you feel?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Same thing with your mindset. So that's mental fitness, because if you don't work out here, you're screwed. You can go to the gym all you want. You'll come home, you'll still be pissed.
So let's, all that I totally agree with. So let's bring that into the conversation of the inside out approach. How does that help us prepare to get out of our minds? I mean, I'm thinking, like what we said a little bit ago about how we're watching too much media and we're freaked out by this virus.
Sure.
And we're out here. We're not present, and we're not doing the things we need to do. So the exercise physically and then the exercise mentally is, in what you're saying, that's the starting point. That's how you start to make the change.
The start is where you're most confident and the most, like, excited about, okay? If you're more excited about meditating, and if you're more excited about working out, and if you're more excited about, whipping up a meal that's healthy at home, then that's where you start. If you are nervous about jumping in the gym and waking up and dreading to go out, I know one of them is waking up at 5. Waking up at 5 is probably the most amazing thing you could do for yourself. That cosmic energy, you wake up early, right?
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And I cut myself off from social media from 5 to like a certain time, like 5 to 10 or something like that. Because in that hour, in those couple of hours, you really get some me focus time, and then you become mentally bulletproof for anything else you read from the outside world or you hear from the outside world, right? You focused on you, and you took care of your health. When you step out in the real world and hear people and watch things, you can easily be like, you know what? I took care of myself today. I feel good inside. You start thinking more positively. You can't force yourself to think positively. You have to feel good inside to think positively, right? So I like that you're saying inside out. And it does work that way. So with exercise, there's so many ways to build your immunity. Food, fitness, and even oxygen, like the way you breathe, which is why meditation is important, right? So meditating or breathing really increases your immune health. Like we're made up of cells, okay? The more you inhale oxygen, good oxygen, and breathe properly, the more you start increasing that immunity from the outside too, along with food, along with workouts, like just exercising. So like I said, they're all literally on the same level. It's just about what you're most excited about. Like if you're a newbie at the gym, you're gonna, number one, have to get a schedule. Then you have to learn the workouts. Then you have to do all of that stuff. It puts in so much pressure in a production, you're not gonna wanna go. But if you love cooking, and then you start with cooking healthy meals, boom. You love cooking. Now you have some awesome recipes. You already started. When you start feeling good, and this happened to me in college, when I started eating better, I wanted to go to the gym, right? So when you start eating better, you get that energy to go. When you're eating like crap, you're gonna, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and take a nap. Like I'm having a food coma, right? So it's all about where you're most interested, I believe.
So you're saying when we think about where we're going to start this process, if we're not doing any of these things, just pick the thing you're passionate about, pick the thing you think you'll enjoy the most, because that's probably what you'll stick with, and then you can start layering in other things.
Exactly.
So totally get it. Some of that stuff, I can tell you that if you'd talked to me even a few years back about meditation, I'd been like, whatever. So
which is why people don't like Jay Shetty at first.
So I get how people will possibly could be listening to this and be like, bro, I'm not meditating.
Exactly. And you don't have to either.
This is like, I don't know where to start. I'm not gonna do that.
Sure.
I could possibly like eat better. We all could eat better, right? And I don't know, maybe I don't want to exercise. What if I don't want to exercise? Like people when they think about exercise, they're thinking about something that's, you're in the gym, you're sweating, you're in pain. It doesn't have to be like that. What's the starting point for exercise? It can be really, really simple.
Sure. I used to think it was because I competed for so long. I'm like, there's no other way. There's like no other way to train unless you're dead and dying and throwing up. Because my coaches used to make me throw up all the time. And someone was like, that's not normal.
No.
So if you want to just start, it's really about, I think one of the biggest things that's been helping my clients right now is getting their steps in. Literally, I've had clients that went from having 500 to 1,000 steps to 10 just because they found a trail or because they find a place to hike, because they had got a watch and it was exciting to track the 10K. But steps really are like probably number one for my clients. Number two, it's, do you like dancing? If you like dancing, why not put up a video or just music? I dance in my pajamas all the time, get some music. If you love music, there you go, you could dance. Another thing is there's also video games that you could be very interactive with. Yeah. So a lot of my younger male clients, I'm like, fine, if you're gonna play video games, your ass better be moving. So they have some video games where they're playing tennis or they're, playing like virtual golf or whatever. So it's really about enjoyment. So if there's a sport, if there is find a friend and go play catch outside, it's really just about getting up and moving. And so I think that's one start. If someone wants to actually get into the gym, because I know social media is blowing it up. And
crazy. Right?
Like it's getting to a point where, that's why I say movement to my clients. I don't even use the word fitness anymore. I'm just like, guys, tell me about your movement. Tell me about your physical activity, not your fitness, your physical activity. Because when you say fitness, it's not really fitness, but fitness in this world because of social media, it's, did you go to the gym?
And when you talk about fitness, what's crazy, you start comparing.
Exactly.
Like you start comparing so much, especially just, my girlfriend does it, I get on IG and she sees such and such and she's just waiting to be like that. And that can, be negative. Yeah, that can be a negative expectation.
And if you're not doing it that way, you're like, I'm not doing it at all. And I give up, right? Like I had a client that was traveling the world for her work, and she was in a different country and she wasn't moving at all. Like when she got back, she didn't move at all. She's like, man, I really miss swimming. I'm like, I found you this many gyms and they all have their pool open and they're all allowing one person at a time. And she is a swimming champ to the point where now she's lifting. And she just messaged me the other day saying, I don't know if you're gonna be upset, but I did more here and I did some more weights here and I went heavy here. I was like, girl, like literally 90 days ago, you were not even moving.
Yeah.
Right? So for her, it just started with swimming because she loved it. So it's really not about fitness and double A. To be honest, all the people that are posting all the workouts, it's not like they're doing it every day. And if they are, that's wonderful. That's great. But the thing is, then you're going to expect to be doing it every day. And if you miss a day, you're like, oh, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll ask my clients, like, how many days did you get in today? 2. And like, I just did 2. I fucked up. I'm like, well, 2 weeks ago, you were doing nothing. You know what I mean? So it's really about getting started. And I promise you, y'all will get as consistent just with meditation, with waking up early, whatever you want to do, whatever your goals are. It's like you don't go hard in the paint with it. Just move. And if it's a fun activity, choose a fun activity. Like there's 9 rounds. You can go Groupon. There's a bunch of like activities to go outside. Things like that.
Yeah. So you're saying it doesn't take a lot to boost your immune system. Just getting out, moving, walking, finding riding a bike, doing something that you enjoy and that you'll do regularly. So and I think that's where I'm trying to go with this, is trying to, and I think you agree, is how do we simplify this to where when people get done here, they can have actionable items? Can you walk for 20 minutes after dinner? Something as simple as that.
So I say, for sure, just make your step goals 10K. Because when COVID happened, not if you didn't get affected physically, you got affected mentally. Okay. So if you think about the why behind your steps and why behind your fitness, you'll do it. Think about it. If you're feeling irritable, bloated, crappy, insecure, and all of these emotional things inside, it's because of the fact that you're not moving. Okay. So if you write all your symptoms out and you know you're feeling all this, and then you tell yourself just by getting up and getting 10,000 steps in a day is going to make me feel better, then you'll do it. So in order for you to do that, set, for example, you could do a 10 to 15 minute walk every time you eat. Go out and just digest it and walk it off, right? Or if you're taking meetings at home, take the meeting while you're walking around. The more you move, the more your mind moves. Your meeting will go even better, right? I had a client like smash a meeting just because she walked around on the phone with it. And she's like, I don't know, I built all this confidence because I was walking around and I felt great. And I'm like, okay, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So when you go into working out because you want to lose weight, you're not going to do it. But if you go into working out and fitness because you're like, I want to just feel better, you'll do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I totally agree on the steps thing, but, and I think we're all familiar with, there's so many ways to track your steps.
Sure.
But people who have never done it, 10,000 steps sounds like so many steps.
So
it sounds
that's
daunting.
2 hours. Yeah, I would just do 2 hours a day. Like start with 30 if you're not doing nothing. Then go 30 the first week, and then an hour the next week, and then an hour and a half the next week. But just build on it. Even if you want to do 30-minute walking for the first 2 weeks, but build on it. It has to be a little bit at a time. And I think that I say pick a number that satisfies you and doesn't scare you. Okay. So if 1 hour scares you, then do 30. If 20 minutes sounds great and like, oh, 20 minutes doable. Like I'll tell my clients if they don't get their steps in, like, so you couldn't go outside for 20 minutes? Oh yeah, 20 minutes, that's true. Because I'll make them check their phone. Like go on your phone, look at your screen time. If it's more than 5 hours, then you fucked yourself over. Because you could have made 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour a priority within that screen time on social media. So I think a good place to start is looking at your phone and seeing how much time you're putting into your phone. And then take an hour out of that and just, occupy it with steps and just promise yourself you'll do that.
I think that's a perfect segue into the next thing that I think is super important, which is recovery. And recovery, not just in the form, I think when people think of recovery, it's like, okay, I worked out, I'm sore, I need to recover. But sleep is the most powerful form of recovery. And we're on our devices too often, which
and too late
gets,
night.
We get into circadian rhythm issues and all those kinds of things. But how powerful is recovery in general, and then sleep when you talk about boosting your immune system and preparing yourself to be healthy against whatever's out there waiting for us?
Yeah, it's like the only thing that's going to help, because so at night, say you're sleeping, how many hours do y'all sleep?
I'd probably say
6 or 7.
I'd say 7 is my normal.
If I can ask the quality of your sleep, we'll go around this way. From 1 through 10, what's the quality of your sleep? Like not
Probably
waking up.
Probably like a 6.
Yeah.
Like
and so when you wake up, are you groggy?
Oh yeah.
You're groggy?
Yeah.
Do you have to get coffee to stay up and wake up?
No, I think once to help me wake up, I just take a shower.
Okay.
Like that just helps me. Yeah.
But you feel a little sluggish getting out of bed or no?
Yeah. It's tough getting
What
out of
about
bed.
you?
My sleep's not good, but
Tell me about it.
I've got a bad back, so
Yeah, that's what I was.
it just makes it really, really challenging.
Yeah, she's struggling too. Okay.
I fall asleep quick.
Are you working on your back? Are you trying to recover your back first?
It's my back and neck.
She's caught both of y'all.
Lifting
Have you seen a chiropractor?
No.
Does
Lifting
deadlifting
makes it worse.
and snatches, does all that stuff?
Okay.
Does that count?
Have you done any chiropractic care before?
I have.
Okay.
It hasn't really.
Not really. How consistent were you?
For the first time I went, I was going on a weekly basis.
Weekly? I would, so if you're doing chiropractic and if it didn't work for you, that's totally fine. He saved my migraines and my sleep. I used to have insomnia and I also had migraines and I couldn't sleep. chiropractic care is it's a lifestyle. So I was going 2 to 3 times a week to kind of get it away. Now I only have to go once every 2 weeks. But that's just one option. There's other ways to obviously help your back. But proper recovery is obviously going to take you to actually sleep, right? So take care of it. But with you, tell me about your sleep.
I think
1 through 10.
Probably a 7.
A
But
7.
I will say, like, I sleep throughout the night,
Yeah.
but when I wake up, like, I have to have coffee.
What time do you sleep?
10:30, 11.
And you still wake up at 5?
Yeah.
And you're okay?
Yeah. Well, I sleep throughout the night,
Okay.
but to get me through the day, like,
Yeah.
I need caffeine. I feel kind of sluggish.
Yeah, bro, you've
most
always
days.
got a cup of coffee in your hand. It
Yeah.
seems
So
like.
with you, going back to you, I didn't ask you, but what's your energy like when you wake up? Are you sluggish? What's your
No,
energy?
I'm a morning person. I
You're
can
a morning
wake
person,
up.
me too.
Yeah, I wake up before my
Okay.
alarm most of the time.
So for
I'm
you,
good.
it's maybe not recovery, it's your mentality. Like your mentality can actually wake you up if you still didn't have the best sleep. But a lot of people, if there's a lot going on in your body and your mind and you're not sleeping throughout the night, if you don't shut down properly and your quality of sleep isn't there, then your body's still burning, right? Like we're not moving much, but your body's constantly burning, which requires energy, which requires effort, right? So nothing is able to shut down and kind of regroup and reboot, okay? So recovery is so important because if you're not rebooting, then your appetite's jacked, you're groggy in the morning, it's hard for you to even want to focus. Like people that complain about Mondays, I'm like, yo, you're not sleeping well. Because the only way to recover and to have the appetite to burn the fat, to have a good mindset, to want to live, to thrive, sleep is everything. Because if you're still going at night, then just imagine a car that keeps going and going and doesn't have any maintenance. What's going to happen to that car?
Yeah.
It's exactly what happens to our mind and body.
So are you saying that sleep could be the number one thing
Yes.
that we need to focus on?
Yes. It helps with even weight loss. It helps with your skin. It helps with your mood, your energy. Again, your appetite. Because if your appetite's good, then you eat better. And then you want to work out, right? Like if you're sleeping well, you want to be active. Yeah. When you wake up and you're energetic, you're like, damn, I can't wait to take on the day. Yeah. But if you wake up and you don't have that quality of sleep, you're like, oh, when's my next nap? Or when do I get to come home and get back into bed? Because a lot of people go to work, come home, get in their PJs, like, I can't wait to go to bed. And then I asked them, I was like, well, you got home at 5 and you slept at 11. So what did you do between those hours? Man, I was so exhausted. I just needed to relax. I needed to just sit on the couch. I just needed to do this. That is the worst thing you could do for your body. And the only reason why that happens is because you didn't sleep well either, right? Or you just didn't eat well. So if you're struggling with appetite, if you're struggling with energy and you don't know anywhere to start, I love that you brought this up. If you don't want to start with fitness or nutrition or meditation or breathing, sleep. Just get your sleep together. If you get your sleep together, you'll wake up wanting to do more. Like, okay, I'm sleeping better. You're going to start thinking about what the next thing you could do to make it better for yourself. So great topic. I like that.
And I think that we're just wired with our society today to think that sitting on the couch is relaxing. If you can rewire that to, say like meditation, fitness, sleep,
journaling.
Yeah.
Talking.
I actually just started journaling this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
that's a type of meditating too. So that's a good place to start.
Yeah. I started journaling actually last week.
Sure.
And that's one thing I've been like able to stay consistent with. But I just feel like we just all need to rewire and realize like that's not real relaxation. Just sitting on the couch watching TV.
Yeah.
Eating good foods. Or actually one thing I wanted to bring up as we transition from sleep to nutrition, I read that you should chew your drinks and
chew your drinks.
You should chew your drinks and drink your foods. It's in Think Like a Monk.
Uh-huh. Your drinks.
I did. I remember that.
Like my green smoothie. Is that what you're talking about? Like that's a little chewy.
Yeah, you should chew your because we're so in our society today. We're so quick with everything. We don't even think about what we're eating. The book kind of tells you to focus
is this
in
figurative or literal.
I don't know. I mean,
chew your drinks.
Chew your drinks and drink your foods.
Yeah. I know what he's saying, but I'll say that's next level.
Okay.
Not a lot of people can jump on that right away. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
If you have I'm going to go back to sleep because I remember, I'm going to actually go back to this really quick.
Yeah.
With the sleep thing, remind me to break down 3 ways to get better sleep like today. Okay? We can go back to that.
For sure.
So with nutrition, I mean, what you're saying, is if you have a bad relationship with food, okay, if you're already not getting your fruits and veggies in, okay, it's not going to be easy for you to want to drink it because it's something that you're telling yourself you have to do. So I do believe that you kind of have to go and I do that already. I do eat. I drink, like I could have a green smoothie all day, put my protein in it, and I feel so much better off of that. But I think it's like next level for some people. So if you're already struggling on even eating enough, right? Or even like I have clients that don't even like fruits. Okay, I have clients that don't even like vegetables. So we got to start somewhere. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? Potato is a vegetable. Let's start with the potatoes. You know what I mean? Sweet potato is a vegetable. Let's start with that. So that's what they're basically talking about. Because why you're a little confused is because maybe your relationship with food is probably still in the works right now.
Gotcha.
So, and I'll agree. So you're next level here, and I think where we're trying to get to is someone who is
starting out.
This is that hopefully they're listening to this, and this is a new concept for them. They've been washing their hands, masking, and social distancing, and we're trying to say, hey, how do you take something actionable from here?
Yeah.
And you're probably not going to start mixing up green smoothies in the morning. So on the nutrition piece,
actually,
okay,
I think everyone should. It's a good way to see it, right? But what happens is people assume it's all they should do. So you can actually have a combo of it. Like, for example, if someone said, I want to eat low carb, they'll just put themselves on a keto, right? Or if someone says like, okay, I'm going to do no meat at all. I'm just going to do all vegetarian. That's kind of like going cold turkey on something that you're actually used to. So you just introduce it. So I like that you brought it up because you can start with having a green juice. Like, okay, I like this, but I'm not depriving myself of what I've already liked to eat, right? Or what I haven't tried elsewhere, right? There's a lot of clients right now that I'll give them a bagel. Oh my God, you're giving me a bagel? That tells me, okay, we're starting from scratch. Because if they think eating a bagel is bad for them, then who knows what else is going on in their mind when they're eating. So I think they could start with the green juice every day. I think everyone should. That's like your vitamin. I know like 50% or 90% of the world's probably not taking their vitamins right now. Do y'all take your vitamins?
So, I'm huge on this. And that's kind of where I was trying to get to, which is what's the simplest way to supplement your diet? Because you know, if you go through the McDonald's drive-thru every morning, just because you listen to this podcast doesn't mean you're going to change that tomorrow. But can you easily supplement that? I mean, we talk vitamin D is huge right now with coronavirus, right? We've heard about this. But how many people have taken action on that and actually looked into it and done something about it? But it's truly one of the simplest ways to fill in those gaps in your diet.
Yeah.
It's not the answer.
Right.
But it's a start.
Yeah. One thing I will say from my perspective and what I believe is that say you're not sleeping well, going back to sleeping, or exercising, or you're not moving well and your mindset's kind of deprived of positivity and you're just feeling low energy all the time. Even if you were to take supplements, there's no telling how your body's going to actually absorb it. There's a lot of times where your body rejects things like that if your metabolic process isn't working properly, right? You could be eating all the vitamins in the world and nothing could be getting absorbed just because of the fact that your diet is crap or you're not moving enough or things like that, right? So I don't recommend supplements unless you've used whole foods first with my clients because I don't think if you're not drinking enough water, I don't want you taking pills. You're not going to digest it. It's not going to absorb well. It's not good for your organs. So I'd rather them start with water first. Then they start with eating proper foods. Like if you're low on like iron or potassium, or if your cholesterol is high, we'll pick specific foods. Eat those first, because like you said, food's information, and so is your body. Your body's going to start craving something specific because you're actually lacking it. It happens that way. Yeah. So I think supplements are great, but I also think if you choose to take supplements, you got to make sure you're doing the right things for it to actually work. It needs a transport system. It won't work on its own.
Cool. Yeah. So totally agreed on all aspects there. So you're saying if I'm not eating whole foods, then I probably am wasting my money on supplements, or where do I start there?
If you're overdoing it. So if you're low on vitamin D and you got your lab work and the doctor's like, hey, you need more vitamin D, there's vitamin D pills, oil pills. Those are like full vegan, plant-based. Obviously, that would definitely work. But if you're going to overdo your supplements, like you're taking multivitamins, vitamin D, you're taking potassium, you're taking magnesium, all this crap, then who knows what's actually being absorbed. I recommend going one at a time, and I think a multivitamin is the best way to start. I believe in multivitamins, down back. If you start with just one and then get your foods in, you'll feel great. And then you'll see, okay, maybe you're not lacking. Because the thing is, what if your body starts to adapt with those supplements and it doesn't get those whole foods down the line? I want my clients and anyone that's listening to start using foods, because who doesn't want to eat? You know what I mean? So
Got it.
Yep.
So if I can recap quickly and say that if we're going to decide to take an inside-out approach, and we're going to talk about a few things, which is exercise, not the kind of exercise you're thinking about, getting out and walking, getting your steps.
Just moving.
Just
moving.
movement.
Yeah.
Recovery in the form of getting enough sleep. Nutrition in the form of changing what you eat to more whole foods.
Less processed foods. Like just by cutting out some of your processed foods and turning it into something that's more fresh will go a long way.
And then supplementing a multivitamin.
Correct. I also huge believer on fish oil, or at least any DHEA and DHA supplements. A lot of us are experiencing depression, anxiety because we're not producing enough when we're going through that. And when we're feeling that way, it's hard for our bodies to produce and regulate that. That's why I'm so big on DHEA and DHA supplementing that for sure. A lot of us are not getting it in our foods. And in order for us to get that, we got to start giving like melatonin. If you can't sleep, melatonin is also a good way to get to bed like quickly. Melatonin is also a natural supplement. It's not habit forming, just like DHEA and DHA. If you give your body those natural supplements, then it's like it'll wake up and it'll be like, you know what? Okay, I feel better. I want to move more. I'm thinking better. I'm happier. My mood's better. My sister used to call it the happy pill in college, and it was a happy pill. And I actually know that I feel a difference when I don't take mine. But things like that, like vitamin D, DHA, DHEA, and multivitamin, probably the three that I would definitely recommend.
Okay, so that's like I can grasp onto that if this is a starting point for me. That sounds pretty simple. Yeah. So you established that sleep is number one. You told me to come back to this. 3 ways to get better sleep.
Melatonin is number one.
Okay.
I feel like if I was to tell you right away, stop your screen time, it's not going to be that easy to do. So melatonin is a great way to kind of just like force yourself to sleep a little bit, but in a non-habit forming way. Number 2 would be, I get some clients that have a problem of staying up at night on social media to put their phone on downtime. So 2 to 3 hours before bed, put your phone on downtime. The less you see your screen closer to bed, the easier you'll fall asleep. Number 3, you have to put yourself in a mood too. So candles, dim lights, really good scents like lavender, something that's really calming and relaxing that puts you in a mood. Like when you go on a vacation and you're in a beautiful hotel room and or when you go to a massage spot, right?
Eucalyptus.
Amazing. Yeah, that. There's beautiful music when you're getting a massage done. Well, why do we get to relax in those places? You could bring that to your home and kind of set it up in that ambiance, and that will also help as well.
Now that you say that, in my meditation session today, there was some sort of smell. I don't know what it was. I didn't recognize it, but I bet you that.
Yeah, it does a lot. Like there's so much that goes into the smells and what you're looking at, like all your senses. So setting up your senses for success is a huge move and a great move to put yourself to sleep. So screen time gone and just be very intimate with yourself. And if you're sleeping next to somebody, have them do the same thing and make sure they're not also on the screen either, right? Maybe start a book with somebody that you're sleeping with. If you're sleeping alone, then start a book with yourself. You're journaling, right? Do you do it before bed? When do you do it?
No, in the mornings.
In the mornings? That's awesome. If you're starting to journal and you're having trouble sleeping, even doing it before bed's good because it gets everything out that's cycling in your head out. That way, when you're going to bed, you're not thinking about everything. Sure. You let it out. You know what I mean?
No, that's so true, because there's times where I've got so much going on, and sometimes the only way I can stop my mind is to make a list.
Yeah.
And just get
I've
it
learned
out
the hard
and-
way. Like when I started my business, I'm like,
Yeah.
all I do is think about what I need to do next. And what do there's just so much going on in your mind constantly. So when you vent it out to someone that doesn't judge you, like your journal, it's not going to talk shit back to you or say anything to you. Whatever you want, your anger, your happiness, whatever, throw it all out there. The next day you'll be able to kind of wake up and say, okay, I got all the gunk out. Now I'm ready to build some mental capacity for something that's going to be useful.
Well, quick question. So for the listeners, essentially you're saying the number of hours you sleep is less important than the quality of your sleep.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, because it's all about the time you go to bed and the time you wake up on a consistent basis. Go to sleep the same time and wake up the same time every day.
That's so hard to do, though.
It is, but it's
Jocko.
yeah.
So hard to do.
If you get very consistent with it, it becomes second nature, and your body's just like, bye, I gotta go to bed.
That's why I'm easily able to do it, because
Yeah.
me and CJ have known each other
Yeah.
for 5-6 years, and I was waking up at 4:30 with him. It's literally a routine for me now.
Yeah. I started because I was when I was a trainer at Anytime, I had clients at 4:30, so I'd have to be up early. So I kind of got used to it. But when I started my company, I knew I only could thrive on 4 to 5 hours because I needed those extra hours to work. Like I was literally doing everything in my business, right? So everyone was just talking about 8 hours. I'm like, there's no fucking way I can give you 8 hours. I just can't do it. But if your quality of sleep in those 5 to 6 hours is great, it works. It's quality, not the quantity. I believe that personally. I know a lot of experts say otherwise, but I've seen it worked great for me and a lot of my clients.
I feel like I would. I'm not an expert by any means, but I feel like the logic behind it would make more sense for me too.
Right? Because if you shut off, you shut off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I look back, there's been nights where I didn't get the number-wise a lot of sleep, but I had some good sleep and I woke up
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the
that's crazy.
beginning, because we can't accomplish the 4 to 5 quality, this is probably why 8 hours is so popular. It's because, okay, give yourself 8 hours so you get at least a couple hours within those to have that quality of sleep. But as soon as you accomplish the quality, you're like, okay, I can thrive on 5. I'm great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a cushion.
Yeah, exactly. Grace period.
Cool. Yeah. So when COVID happened, it changed almost all of our daily lives in some way, shape, or form, and we've had to find a new normal. So, what's the new sweet spot, and how do we get there? You said you have a self-assessment on.
Yeah, so I was thinking about
how do we
this.
do this?
Yeah, the self-assessment is basically journal prompts, okay? So even if you don't journal, consider it just like writing a letter to yourself, okay? So what I was thinking about when it came to sweet spot was before COVID, you had a sweet spot of how many times you wanted to work out. What's your sweet spot of what makes you feel healthy, but just still enjoyable with your meals outside? What's your sweet spot of being social and being an introvert, right? And now in the new norm, that's why we're like, oh, we need a balance. I personally don't believe there's a such thing as even balance. There's no such thing. What I do believe is if you give what you want out of life an opportunity, like amount of time of everything you love in your life, that's a balance. So even if it's 5 things, if it's 6 things, but if you're giving it to yourself every day, I think that's a balance. It's just about the fact that if you tell yourself work life, there's just so much to life. How can you compare that to work? You know what I mean? There's just so much to it. So I think finding a sweet spot at this point with your life, your health, it's all about what makes you feel happy. As cheesy as it sounds, it's literally about what makes you happy at this point. Because if you're happy and you're waking up right now, you'll find that sweet spot of, okay, you know what? I'm going to like now 5 to 10, I don't fuck with anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. I want to look at anyone. I just want to be by myself, you know? And then after 10, I'm like, you know what? I gave myself time. I can do what I need to do. I can engage with my clients the way I need to. I'm all, you know, my workouts are done, whatever. I'll still stay moving and whatnot. But to assess, ask yourself, what's missing? What do you enjoy? So for example, I had a client say she loves cooking, okay? But she wasn't even eating. And she just didn't want to prep. I'm like, but you love cooking. Well, what do you love cooking? She's like, well, I love like things like, look at this recipe book, look at this cookbook, and I like this. Okay, you're getting all these cookbooks. Go cook all of this. So it's really about write down everything you feel like you're missing in life or you don't have enough time for and you're just giving 2 minutes to. So for example, if someone said, I love massages or I love doing pottery and I only get it to do it once every 2 weeks, why the fuck are you not doing more of it? So number one is to write down everything you love to do that actually makes you happy, even though you think it's impossible and it's not doable or whatever. I have kids, like this is not going to happen or whatever. My job is this busy. There's no fucking way it's going to happen. You just told yourself it's not going to happen. So write down everything that makes you happy and gives you joy. Then you write down how many hours you really want to work, right? It's really just building a framework on how you want your life to look. A lot of the times we tell ourselves it can't be done. There's no way. There's like no way. Like you have no idea. You're not in my position. I have all these things to do. I have all this. I have this many commitments. And then we just find excuses, which is really resistance. And then that's where we don't find a balance. So number one is write down everything you love to do. Number two, write down how much do you really want to work and put energy to others. Okay. And then number three, write down everything that's going to be doable for you to start what you love. And once you do that, even the smallest things, you're going to start making decisions like no other. Things you thought were impossible are going to turn into being possible. So just assessing yourself.
So I guess like before the podcast started, we were talking about us kind of having that moment where we learned that we are not alone.
Yeah.
So I guess before we go too far down the rabbit hole with this, what were some things, like as an expert, what are some things that you struggled with during quarantine? Because, you know, everyone's struggling with different things.
Yeah. Let's see. Where do I start? Well, first, running a company solo is already crazy because you're doing it by yourself. You can't pick others' brains and whatnot. So I was at an office. Like I struggled the first year. I was like, you know, screw this. I'm going to get an office. COVID happened. Couldn't go back to my office. So that's what I struggled with, was doing it on my own without having energy. Like I was able to be the best introvert at an office. Like I really practiced and then the shit happened. So I went back into the rabbit hole and I'm like, damn, I'm back here now. What can I do? So I struggled a lot with being by myself.
How'd you overcome that?
I went back home. So I went to my mom's place, my parents' place. I spent time with them, I spent time with my dog, but I kept going back to work, then came back home. Then I started meeting my clients in person, the ones I could. I started doing more virtual calls because I had more energy, but then I gave too much energy and I forgot myself, not gonna lie. I really hit rock bottom for a couple of weeks. I didn't work out. I didn't eat well. I was mentally struggling because that depression, anxiety just creeped back in. I have a cycle of suicidal depression for the past 10 years. I haven't had it in 3 years, but I felt it creeping up. So what I did with that is also I got a therapist. I started talking to a therapist again, more so a life coach, and then journaling and meditating too. But I didn't want to do any of it. To be honest, I didn't want to do shit. I was like, I'm alone. Fuck it. I don't want to do anything. So that's what I struggle with. But putting myself in the position where I was surrounded by people that wouldn't judge me and support me was the one thing that really helped me get out of it.
And the thing I like about what you said is like you said you essentially said you invested in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you're a life coach
Sure.
and you have a life coach.
Yeah.
You know, most therapists have therapists.
Sure.
Most trainers have trainers. If you want to learn how to golf, you will
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I got a boxing coach too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll go. I bought a golf coach during
Yeah.
quarantine. You know, so
You bought one?
yeah, I hired one. But yeah, so that's a good point. Like people need to kind of just realize that it's okay to invest in yourself.
It's so okay because just like you have those inspirations, they have their own inspirations.
Yeah.
And that's how they paid it forward like we were talking about. Mm-hmm. So we got to get out of our little like selfish mind and be like, you know what? You cannot go through life alone, especially during COVID. There's no way. This is why I'm a coach. If I'm not going to get myself help, why am I doing this in the first place?
Yeah. Yeah. And pay it forward wise. Like Jeff's a great mentor of mine. And whenever we get into those deep conversations, you're normally the person that tells me you're paying it forward because your mentor did the same thing to you. So great point.
I mean, this is what you're doing here. Like, why are y'all taking the time out to do this?
Forward, yep.
You're giving back right now with content to get someone started. Like, you're asking questions like, well, hey, what can I do right now? Right? Like, you're really invested in wanting to bring out value and help others. So that's the only way to make it work. And you're doing it with a group. Like, you guys are all together doing it. You're not doing it solo.
Yeah.
So this is a prime example of why everyone needs somebody.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if we're going to wrap this thing up, put a bow on it, Nadia, we're all struggling in some way, shape, or form through COVID, trying to find a way.
Yeah.
The whole point of this conversation is inside out versus outside in. How can we take charge of what we have control of, which is inside out? So before we wrap up, I'll just give you kind of the last word, and if you if someone's struggling and they're just not quite sure what to do, where do we start?
I think there's a level, okay? If you feel like you're struggling to do it on your own and you've tried everything, I would say stop, get some help, like stop. Because the more you keep trying, the more you keep failing, the more you're going to start feeling like you're a failure. And you're not, because no one can do it on their own. But you're going to continue to do something that's not working for you. So you might as well ask someone that's done it. I say, and I'll talk about an affordable route and a route where if you can afford it, okay? So if you can afford it, go do your thing by finding a life coach or a mentor. They all have free consults. See if you guys mesh. Make sure you connect with your life coach and mentor, because if you don't, I mean, there's really no point. Like, I've been there before, and when someone's really struggling and they need help, they're going to really look up to you, and they're going to listen to everything you say. So you need someone that's going to actually bring out the best in you and potential out of you and not tell you what to do, okay? So if you're able to do that, I say go find your best match just by, signing up for consultations. I've done that multiple times, and when I found my best fit, that's how I found somebody. Then if you can't afford it, I know during COVID, a lot of people can't. There is so much help and free content, aka like this right now, right? That's one. You can literally go on YouTube. You can go on social media and just look up, hashtag like mental health or anxiety, whatever. Watching people, listening to personal stories on social media is a good way. If anything at all, I would say delete social media as far as like fitness and all. That's one thing that helped me a lot was I actually did an Instagram detox. I don't mean disconnecting and taking it away. I mean unfollowing everyone that was bothering the fuck out of me. If I'm sitting here judging someone on Instagram, it's because clearly I'm mad about myself about something, right? So if I'm judging someone, it's because I'm hurting and I'm healing, and clearly I have a fucking problem. So if someone's bothering you from the outside world, unfollow them first. See who you mesh with, and then look at the content that's put out there. Jay Shetty's one, and I'll tell you some of mine. Simon Sinek, amazing guy that talks about leadership. Yeah. Then there's Lewis Howes out there, Deepak Chopra. There's so many more. I'm just going blank right now. Oh, Dr. Nicole's incredible. She talks about inner healing, and I can give you guys a list. But just really going out there and taking advantage of all the free information during COVID. Like, there's so much out there. So I'd say if you want to stay consistent, make a schedule of all the people you want to listen to, make a podcast list, make a playlist, and there goes your free information mentoring right there, because there's mentors everywhere doing podcasts. You might as well just listen to them and pick 5 different personality brains. But if you want that one-on-one, then and you have the money to do that, then I would do that too. Or you can, come talk to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nadia, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've enjoyed the conversation, as I'm sure the guys have. I kind of geek out on this stuff anyway.
Me too. I was excited about having like an energetic conversation over virtual.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious before we wrap it up. I would kind of, besides Nadia, I would like to hear like one actionable step that us 3 got out of it, because we're kind of the people that aren't the experts, like most of the people that are listening. So.
What was y'all's aha moment today?
I don't know. Mine might be the sleep. Mine might be the sleep. Working on getting the quality sleep.
Yeah, that's huge.
And going to sleep at a consistent time.
What are you going to start with? How are you going to do that today?
Ooh. What time am I making back home tonight? Probably 10. I don't know. I'll probably just...
You're not making 10.
Yeah, I'm not making 10. Yeah, you're right.
You can turn off your social media. Something as small as that.
That would be good. I've actually been doing better at that, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good at that. I don't even grab my phone at night.
Or you can pick up melatonin on the way. It's everywhere. CVS, Walgreens, Target.
Do that.
Or CBD.
Yeah.
I haven't tried that. So.
You can do like a milligram to 2 to start with.
And that'll give me the quality?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
It'll take some time, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What about you?
I think for me, it was the exercise. For me, exercise is physical, when I think about it, but you made it real that the exercise is also mental. And I think just for whatever reason, I had that meditation session today, and that made it very real.
Weird,
Made it very real for me in that conversation, and how powerful that session was today, and how important it is to bring those two things together. Yeah. So it was cool.
I think for me, it was a lot of, again, I have a lot of thoughts that go through my head. So one thing that you implied that you didn't really like literally say, but I'm sure you were kind of implying it, is accountability partners. Surrounding yourself with people, like, for example, if you don't know how to read, like me personally, this is super embarrassing, but I have never read a book all the way through till a year ago from this month. And the reason I did it was because I started my own book club, and I had accountability partners that were going to do it with me, and I didn't want to let them down. And it was so much to the point where the day of our book club meeting, I had half the book to go, and I was like, dang. And I knocked the half of the book out within, that day. Yeah. So, and also just, seeking the mentorship, even the affordable route. Like me personally, I had free mentors. Like CJ was a mentor of mine. We weren't friends coming off. He was my basketball coach and trainer. He mentored me into learning about, getting out of your comfort zone. And that. Jeff, Tim, I have so many different mentors that did it for free. So it's just putting your ego aside and seeking not necessarily help, but just being curious and
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I love that you said that. It's all curiosity.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't a teacher's pet in college. And then when I started my business, I'm like, I can't do this by myself. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Ryan Nadell. He was the most incredible mentor as far as mindset goes too, right? Yeah, I 100% agree. Accountability, support, mentorship. There's a lot of people that don't think like you. There's a lot of people that don't think like you. There's a lot of people that don't think like you. So if you're surrounded by people that don't think like you, you're going to start second guessing yourself. So you got to surround yourself with people that think like you and that really mesh with you and set with your energy. I mean, otherwise you're always going to stay in one spot. And I'm sure none of us like being stagnant. Like that drives me insane. So yeah, huge on mentorship.
Awesome, y'all. I think we could be here for a lot longer, but
I could keep going.
Right. We're going to wrap this up. But if you'd like to get in touch with Nadia, you can check her out on her website, nadiasnutrition.com, or email her directly at nadia@nadiasnutrition.com. It's NADIA at nadiasnutrition.com. Thanks for tuning in today. We hope you're able to take away some meaningful content that allows you to find your sweet spot. If you like what you heard today, please make sure to share this podcast with your friends and family. If you're watching us on YouTube, please support us by subscribing. Or if you're listening on other platforms such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please support us by hitting the follow button. If you want to interact with us on social media, hit us up on Instagram at thesweetspot.podcast. That's at thesweetspot.podcast. Take care, and we'll see you all next week.
What a fucking show.
That was good.
Good job, guys.
You were great. Nadia, you were great.
I don't have no more left, but